All right, welcome back to another edition of Butchered Sports, where we're going to talk some soccer, some football talk with Z. It's Wednesday, September 20th. There's been a lot going on. We have a chance to catch up on some really cool things that have been happening and some drama that's happening around the world of soccer. Z, get us caught up.
Oh, how are we doing today, Frank?
Beautiful. It's another beautiful day in paradise here.
It is.
How about
it
you?
Is. Oh, I tell you what, every day is a blessing. Every day
That's
is
right.
a blessing. If we want to go over real quick today, lots of play going on in Europe, and some games on our side of the Atlantic too. To stay at home, Atlanta United's up right now at the half. It looks like they're up 4-0. Boy, are they playing good soccer, huh? Boy, are they fun to watch.
Yeah, they broke that game open, and they're really excited in Atlanta about the team with good cause. I got a chance to watch most of the first half, and LA had the first real scoring opportunity in that game, and there was a slide tackle from behind, but not a dirty tackle, a clean tackle by an Atlanta defender coming in at the last second, and really took the play away from the Galaxy attacker. And from that point on, it was just a landslide. Atlanta's just been pouring in the goals.
That's a tough one because historically I've been a Galaxy fan, but I got to admit, I'm watching Atlanta more and more, and I haven't ordered an Atlanta United jersey or just a T-shirt, but still, I mean, they're a fun side to watch. It's hard to believe that they're an expansion side. It really is. It's hard to believe.
It is. And they got the right colors for us to wear.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. You know what? It's hard to go bad with that, right? It's hard to go wrong with the red and black. The other game here tonight, Montreal's beating Toronto 3-1, but that game's at the half as well. Wow, that's a little surprising. Montreal's different. I don't know how to. I can't put a finger on them. I really can't. Well, we'll see. Well, playoffs are coming pretty soon, so we'll see. But
yeah,
you never really know with that side. You never really know that they're their last 4 losses and a win. So they were due.
Yeah. Well, Wednesday soccer is a lot of fun. I know that the EPL, there's some bars here in Baltimore that have adopted their teams, and there's a big game going on tonight, Wednesday night soccer across the pond. I'll talk a little bit about that.
Excuse me. Yeah, isn't that fun though to have that have that excitement about soccer? Honestly,
yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, couple of scores from Serie A. League that's close to our heart, right? Our hearts. Juve won 1-0 over Fiorentina, which was nice. Napoli 4-1 over Lazio. It was Lazio, but it's still Napoli winning. So
that's right.
You got to do what we can with them. Torino beat Udinese 3-2 from what I understand was actually a pretty good game. Roma won 4-0. Not really a shock there. Benevento, that shouldn't have been a problem. In Germany, Dortmund won 3-0. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see Pulisic's goal.
I did not, but I'm excited to hear he scored.
Oh man, what a nice goal! Just a beautiful goal. Just totally beat the goaltender. It was a nice little give and go. I can't think of who he played it off with, but it was a beautiful goal. This kid's gonna be something else. I cannot wait to watch him.
He's only 18, and he's been under a lot of pressure to try to carry the U.S. men's national team, but he's going to get there, and he'll do his part for sure. Hey, back to that Juventus score that you were talking about. I'm glad to hear Juventus won because, one of my favorites, Gigi Buffon, had a tough time. He had a tough time not too long ago. He lost to the Spaniards on the Italian men's national team, and then turned around and saw many of those same guys again with the Barcelona Juventus match in the UEFA Champions League, and they're matched up in the same grouping. And he had the misfortune of playing those same guys a couple of times within a week or so. And, just a rough little spell for him. But
it was. And that guy's Mandusic scored, I guess it was a header, and got the 1-0 win. I
Good.
can't wait to see the highlights for that. I'll be watching BN Sports either later or tomorrow because I got to see how he played that game. In my favorite league in Spain, Atletico Madrid won 2-1, which was nice. Anytime Atleti scores, I like it. As big a Barca fan as I am, I still like Atleti because they're kind of like the redheaded stepchild in Madrid, right? So you got to cheer for them all the time. And speaking of Madrid, they lose the Real Betis 1-0 late in the game. Nick and I were watching that game. They lost in the 92nd or 93rd minute, or the 5
What
minutes
a
of extended
surprise.
time. And at Real Madrid, at the Bernabeu, they lose 1-0. And so Barca's 7 points up on them already.
So another game without a goal, or with very low-scoring games that they've had, and you pointed something out today, and that is that Messi by himself has more goals this season than the entire Real
In the
Madrid
entire
team.
Real it's well, Messi's on a tear. I mean, and the last thing you want is that guy to be motivated, right? And you got
Yeah.
the best player in the history of the planet who's scoring like crazy. Uh, might have been a bad thing for basically everybody in Europe that the Neymar went to PSG because it just opened the
Yeah.
floodgates, and this guy's just he's on a tear. And as a fan, I love it. But man, I feel bad for any team that they're playing against because this guy's just he's ridiculous.
He is, and I'm glad to see it. I really am. It's exciting to watch, and since Neymar left, there was an initial bounce. Everybody was talking about PSG, talking about how they're odds-on favorites to really kind of take over the scene, not just in the Parisian league, but in UEFA. And and now you hear some other kind of background noise. It's the reverberations. It's that after effect, right?
Yep.
You hear some other players talking about Neymar's kind of his attitude on the field and some of the things that swirl around him, and it came to the fore with as they're calling it in France, le clash.
Yep.
Between him and Cavani. I mean, really just showing poor decision making by trying to take the ball from your free kick teammate and trying to upset the apple cart for no good reason. So
yeah, and Danny Alves didn't help anything either with that, right? I mean, he comes in and picks up the ball and gives it to Neymar. Like, who are you, right? Who are you?
Right.
I mean, I get it. You're both Brazilian. I understand that, but still, come on. I mean, this is Cavani's side. I don't care what they're paying you. All right, he paid his dues. I mean, he went through the battles. He was side by side with Ibra. As much as they didn't get along, he was still he's still the guy there. Ibra left.
Yeah.
That's Cavani's side, and
yep.
That's well, Neymar always was a bit immature. And even he still had that reputation at Barca where he was the immature, but he was the kid of the three, right? I mean, you had Suarez who, he made his legend, right? I mean, he did that in the Premier League. And, you got Messi who takes a lot of the pressure and everything off you and allows you to be foolish because you got these two guys. Well, now the spotlight's on you. And what are you?
That's right.
You're fighting with Cavani? I mean, that's not good. That's not good. But we'll see.
Not at all.
We'll see how it goes the next time somebody has to take a free kick. That's going to be huge. That's going to be big news.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on in the locker room. Like, what's the manager telling him about that? I mean, you just got to think that he's telling him, number one, no more of this sideshow. We don't want to deal with that. But I wonder who he's going to align himself with. Moving forward.
I do too. Yeah, I wonder that myself. I wonder who's going to be on his side other than Alves. Right?
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to play out because that's drama the locker room doesn't need. And
no,
they got it in spades.
Yep.
Well, as long as it's a PSG and not Barca, that's fine. On to, again, coming back home a little bit. The women's side kind of put a lot of naysayers to bed. I think it would be a good way to say it. A 5-0 win. Listen to the names. Women who scored. See if any of these names sound familiar to you, right? Lindsay Horan, Mallory Pugh, Alex Morgan twice. Right? These names ringing a bell?
Yeah.
whenever it's time to play, and we put our number one side out there. I still find it hard to believe that anybody can really keep up with them. I really do. Maybe a one-off because anybody can beat anybody, but
Right.
whenever we're not playing around, we're not trying to get some of these younger kids involved and get them, stepping up because these names, the Alex Morgans and whatever, they're starting to get a little older. It's time to start bringing other players up. Whenever it's time to play, our women's side is still the best side on the planet. I don't care what FIFA's rankings are. They're
those stars are shining. They're shining brightly, and they're doing what they need to do. There's a lot of motivation. They don't, we talked about this last time. We talked about how they don't, they're not looking around at each other waiting for somebody else to make something happen. They are all making something happen.
Yeah.
And the names you expect to make things happen are making them happen. So, it sets a good example. Hopefully, other teams in America will watch that and take that lead, nudge to the men's team. If Alexi Lalas didn't light a fire under their butt a little bit himself, and he made fun of himself too at the end of that little rant where he said, "Get off my lawn." He knows he was acting like an old man, but at the same time, he spoke a lot of truth.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 because I don't know too many people who really honestly like the guy. I mean, I think a lot of people think he's entertaining, but there's not a whole lot of people who sit there and, I wouldn't want him as my neighbor, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But you know what? When the guy's right, he's right.
Yeah.
And it's something that I don't know if it's being said in the locker room or if it's being said, somewhere in the organization. But if it's not, it should be. It really should be, because this is a side that is continuously underachieving, and you look at their record lately. It's been pretty good. There's only been one loss, but soccer is the one sport where your results are not nearly as indicative of, or as reflective of a team as your performances. And their performances are not good. They're getting wins.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you were the manager for, I don't know, maybe say the top 20 international sides, would you fear the United States? I mean, honestly, would you? Now, maybe if you're Poland, right, or even the Czech side, but if you're in Central America, you don't fear them, right? If you're in South America, you definitely don't fear them. I mean, who are you going to fear? Brazil, Argentina, or United States, right? Come on. You go to Europe, you're going to cheer. You're going to fear the United States over an Italian team or a Spanish team. You're definitely not going to over a German team.
No. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that the United States was ranked 8th in the world. A couple World Cup cycles ago.
Yep.
And 2 or 3 ago, and then 2. I think this, not the last one, but the one before that, still in the top 12 world ranking wise, and pretty much deserved to be in that area.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But now they're down at 22 world ranking, and again, that's deserved based upon their play. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. And I don't put a whole lot of stock in FIFA rankings to begin with because I think they're skewed. But some of these sides you look at their rankings and you see some of their numbers and you sit there and you say, oh, you know what, they hit that one on the head. And ours they did. And we've talked. You and I have talked before. On this podcast, you and I have talked about. I just find it so hard to believe that we could have one side, a women's side, who was so good, and a men's side who was just so underachieving. And even if it was the other way around, I'd be saying the same thing. But it just boggles my mind. And like, we are 300 million people, and we're hoping for an 18-year-old to get us into a World Cup, and that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way. Not here. We shouldn't have that.
No. So, and I remain hopeful. Even saying all that, I remain hopeful that
Yeah, I
things
do
will
too.
change. I mean, I
I
think we've been set back quite a bit by the training and the tactics that went on over the last 6 years or so. The emphasis on bringing over the dual citizen players who weren't in our system all that time, and it was a setback.
I agree.
As much.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was. The development's just not there now. But still, and you're seeing the same names again. I mean, I just rattled off the scores from the women's side, right? And that was 5-0. Okay, and I mean, and you heard these names, and the first goal was the 36th minute, the 44th, the 46th, the 55th. I mean, that's just the side that's just pounding the other side. They're just pounding them, and they're just going after them and attacking and attacking and attacking. The U.S., we're getting a goal in the 90th minute against, a little island that, some hurricane just wiped out.
Yeah. Qualifying saving goals in the waning moments it's not a good sign. It's like, okay, that guy had to come up clutch. That one player had to come up clutch, and I applaud him for doing that. Bobby Wood, namely,
Right,
I applaud
exactly.
him for doing that.
Yeah.
But to see people standing around waiting for somebody else to do that and not having that urgency all game long.
And it wasn't that long ago they went down to Mexico and took a draw from, out of the Azteca, which is unheard of.
Could have won the way they played that game.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just I don't get it. I don't get what these guys are doing. So, Lawless had a point. As much as I'm not very fond of the guy, I can't complain. I mean, he was right on. He was dead on.
Yeah.
He really was. So give him
yeah, he's always been a lightning rod all the way back to his playing days, and right after his playing days, a lot of people didn't really like him, and I see why. But yeah, coming on the heels of what we talked about, I knew you'd enjoy those comments.
Yeah, but I mean, give him credit where credit's due, right? He was dead on. He was spot on. Absolutely. Yep.
So what else is going on? Is there a relegation? Is there somebody that was booted? Is there something that's of interest this week?
Well, yeah, we got. Well, if we stay here, and this is kind of one of those things where you're watching, you're seeing how they make the sausage. The U.S. Soccer Federation revoked NASL's Division II status for the 2018 season. I'm at this point, I'm pretty much convinced that the only reason we have even soccer leagues around here is because it is such a regional thing that you got people like, we'll say, for example, like Columbus, who there's no Ohio State football game going on, so I'm going to go watch a soccer game instead,
right?
Because they're doing everything they can to kill their own league sometimes. Yeah. The bottom line is U.S. Soccer ended NASL's Division II status because the league didn't meet the minimum requirement of 12 teams. And apparently it hasn't for quite a while. And I want to say there was maybe 8 or 10 teams in NASL. It's a league that financially just didn't have backing. I guess next year they're only looking at 10 teams. So the NASL is in trouble. And a lot of that is because it seems the argument is the U.S. Soccer Federation manipulated the division structure to benefit MLS at the expense of rival leagues. Excuse me, Frank. In 2014, U.S. Soccer and MLS signed a huge TV deal, which I don't know where that went because I can't find an MLS game on any given night if somebody paid me. You can't. I mean, it's bad whenever, I can tell you when Manchester United's playing. I can tell you when Barca's playing. These guys on the other side of the Atlantic. I can't tell you when somebody in Columbus who's, a 3-hour drive away from me's playing. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with that. But that's another argument for another time. I'm real curious to see where this is going. I have my personal opinion. I wouldn't be surprised that the USSF, United States Soccer Federation, manipulated the structure to benefit MLS because the MLS, believe it or not, as bad as it is making money. You know,
It's making money, and it is getting, some of the premier players in the tail end of their careers. It's the one that's gotten a little bit more attention in the New York region, in the LA region. You've got players who are, international stars coming at the tail end of their career. Even some American players that have played overseas and want to come home and play are finding it to be somewhat of an attractive option. And yeah, so if you're going to take and say, let's put all of our resources and all of our energy into this, but you also have to have that other league, I think, to create that same type of system that you see in these other countries where it's a second tier league and it creates a system of competitiveness.
Well, yeah, and you're always going to have this uneven playing field. Okay, you're always going to. A lot of that is simply because you have a league that kind of sort of plays by the rules. Okay, you have some clubs play on grass, some of them play on turf, some of them have small pitches. NYCFC has the smallest pitch probably on the planet because they play in Yankee Stadium.
Right.
Which I don't understand that one either. Whenever you have a professional team who plays on a smaller pitch than my son's high school team, that's not good. No. And they do. Their pitch is smaller. And that's not that takes away the legitimacy of your league. It really does. A lot of people will sit there and say, well, you don't understand. It's a big difference going from playing in D.C. tonight to playing in Colorado tomorrow night or 2 nights from now because, the difference in altitude and the difference in just the weather and
humidity. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a good point. And I get that. But that has nothing to do with the size of your pitch. That has nothing to do with the surface that you're playing on. Nothing. And you want to give NYCFC a year to play at Yankee Stadium on a small pitch while you're building your stadium or while you're doing something to come up to code? Okay, no one's going to have a problem with that. And if they do, they're just being foolish, right? Give clubs a chance to do things correctly. Give them the opportunity. But whenever you're telling them, no, it's all right, you can play on this pitch. No, it doesn't matter. You want to play on artificial turf? That's go right ahead. Well, you're always going to be looked at as a lower tier. I mean, you just are. Go to the Premier League. All the pitches are the same.
Yeah.
It's all grass. It's all the same size, right? Everything's the same. You go to La Liga. Everything's the same. A pitch is a pitch.
Yeah, and that's the way the sport is set up, and it's like American football. 100 yards. The end zones are the same size no matter what stadium you play in. The goalposts are at the same height no matter where you play. Everything is uniform. The stadium atmosphere can be different, but the field itself is uniform. And if soccer has been that way traditionally, then that's the way it should be. But I don't know if it's gimmicks or if it's laziness or catering to a big market, so to speak, in New York and saying, we want you, so we're going to look the other way. The gimmicky side of things is in baseball, it's a long known tradition that fields have different dimensions.
Yeah.
And, you go to Pittsburgh and you have the 21-foot high wall. You go to Boston, you have the Green Monster. It's short, but it's very tall on left field.
Yankee Stadium.
You go to Yankee Stadium and it's under 300 feet down the right field line.
Right.
So there's different dimensions, but that's always been a part of baseball.
Right.
And there's little gimmicks, and the teams are built around their stadium so that they capitalize on that. They capitalize on their field. But soccer is not like that. And why is MLS being gimmicky about it? Or are they just looking the other way to keep a big market engaged?
Well, that's a good point. I will make the argument with they didn't give the Red Bulls that same consideration, right? The Red Bulls had to Red Bulls had to build their own stadium.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get it. I really don't. But you know what? You know the rules, and you know how you're going to be perceived, and you know what you're doing. These aren't stupid people. If this is how they want to do things, and this is how they want their league to be, well, then this is what you got.
That's right. Well, let's look ahead a little bit to this weekend. What are some of the matches that you got your eye on for this coming weekend?
This weekend is going to be one of those weekends where, because you had midweek games.
Midweek games, yeah.
You know, sometimes things get a little different. On Saturday in the Premier League, the games that I'm looking at, City and Crystal Palace. The only reason I'm looking at that is I'm wondering if Crystal Palace is going to score yet this season, because they haven't yet. And to see if City can continue this insane pace that they're on. My guess is they're probably both going to break a little bit, right? City's not going to be nearly as dominant. Crystal Palace might actually score. I still think it's going to be like a 4-1 game or something like that, but I think Palace finally decides to score. Staying in that same part of the country, United's playing Southampton. That's going to be ugly. United's going to kill them. Leicester and Liverpool is going to be a really, really interesting game at Leicester. Liverpool can't stop anybody. I mean, Liverpool they're going to win games. They're going to win games, 4-3, because they have no back line at all. They have no, but they also don't have a goaltender either. So it works out. On Sunday in the Premier League, just one game, Newcastle United against B&H. If nothing else is on, I'll watch it. But that's going to be like watching paint dry. It's just going to be a really, really bad game. If we're looking at La Liga,
you run into days like this. The problem is,
I'm sorry, Frank. What do we have here? What do we have this weekend? Look at my notes. Real Madrid and Alaves. We'll see what Real does if they bounce back. Atletico and Sevilla is going to be a great game. That might actually be the game of the weekend in Europe, in all of Europe. That's going to be a Sevilla constantly in the finals or semis of the Europa League. Atleti, always fighting for the top spot in La Liga. They never quite get there, but they're always, and that's going to be a fantastic game. Barca has Girona. They just got called up to the first top league this year. Messi might have 6 goals by the half.
He just came off a 4-goal performance, so he's just flying high, and Barca's flying high. So
right now. Really, nothing else in that league worth talking about. Bundesliga, which is starting to attract some followers, believe it or not. And I think Pulisic has a lot to do with it. There's the Borussia Dortmund against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Okay, I'll watch the Dortmund game just to watch Pulisic. He might have 2 goals that game. Don't think there's anything else really. There's not really anything else there. Italy, how much it kills me that Italy just doesn't have a strong league, because that's, Frank, that's us, man.
Yeah, and it's a down time right now.
It is. Napoli has SPAL, Spal. They should kill them. Juvie and Torino might be a good game. It might be. Torino can score.
Yeah.
And Juvie's, they haven't established themselves yet. Inter, the side that really has my attention this year, as Genoa, and that's gonna be a blowout. They're not gonna that's gonna be a killing.
How
AC,
about AC Milan?
AC, yeah, they have Sampdoria. That's a real early game on Sunday. That's at 6:30 here. So if you wake up early, you might be able to catch some of it. If I'm up, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
I always watch AC Milan. I do. Both Milan sides I watch, and I watch Napoli. Just because I got to cheer for them. If I don't watch them, I at least try to catch their score.
So where are we catching those games? What's the network and what's the way to catch those games?
Well, the best way, you see, that's a big issue to me. That's a big issue. The Premier League is on NBCSN.
That's an easy one. Yep.
That's an easy one, right? That's real simple.
Yeah.
Bundesliga is on Fox, so that's easy.
Yep.
If you're a fan of every other team in Europe that is not Real Madrid or Barcelona, you're a little disappointed because the only thing you have left for is beIN Sports, and beIN has the best. Don't get me wrong; they got the best pundits. They got the best. I mean, they got Ray Hudson. That's all you need, right? But two sides that are always going to be on beIN every weekend is going to be Real Madrid and Barcelona. Always, right? Every now and then, if you're lucky enough to get like their extended things, or you subscribe to that was it FUBO app on Roku or something, where you can get all the beIN game or all the beIN channels, then you can see Serie A games and you can see some Ligue 1 games, but it basically at that point you're at its whim.
Yes.
Luckily, I'm a Barca fan, so I get to watch them. But if I was an Atletico Madrid fan, I'd be mad a lot. If I was a Juve fan, I'd really be mad because Serie A gets no attention really from anybody. They're on the second or third channels on their networks, but our cable companies don't carry them.
Right.
So you got to stream it or figure out some way to get it. Now that's unfortunate because the soccer itself is too good for them not to be showing more of it. But I don't know, there's no demand. I guess it's going to be hard to do.
It is, but let's see how things maybe evolve with more and more attention. And the other thing that I think about, not just the attention that is being paid to it here, but is the options that people have for entertainment now. With internet getting better and better, we're spoiled here with internet. But I mean, I think with the better fiber cables and the different options that are coming around the corner, being able to kind of pick and choose a la carte what you want to watch online is the next wave. And I mean, it's here in a lot of ways, but it's going to keep getting better. So I'm hopeful for that.
Yeah, me too. Because we all benefit, right?
Yeah.
We all do. As long as there is a demand, and we have a generation of kids coming up now that don't know what it's like to turn channels on the knob, right? Have 3 channels and that's it. That they don't know what that's like, and they don't know what it's like.
And adjust the rabbit ears so you get better reception.
Right. Have the father tell you go stand over there and hold your arm up, because I'm watching the Steelers. Damn it, that's all there is to it. So you better get over there. But that being said, they are this idea of being able to get your entertainment on demand when you want it, where it's catered to your schedule, not where you have to get done at a certain time or be in front of that TV at a certain time in order to see it, is something that is a novelty to us, but is more of a given way of life to them. And that is only going to push this idea of just, I want to watch Juvie every week. I can get on that app and I can watch them every week, and I can watch them regardless of the day or time. And that's honestly, I'm kind of glad it's going that way. I think it should be. It's the natural progression of it, and it just if these content providers, if they do it right with a little bit of forethought, everybody can win on this. Everybody
That's right.
can win
That's right.
if they do it right. So
Well,
let's hope somebody does.
I think they will. If there's money in it to be made and there's advertisers that are going to reach the people that they want to advertise to through that medium, it'll happen. So, Patsy, Z, it's been great as always. Follow Z on Twitter, ZCBA, right?
Yep, that's me.
And
Yes.
and follow us on both of us and our other content writers on Butchered Sports on Twitter as well.
Yes.
Keep looking for videos and other content on YouTube under Frank Mattel until we can get it under Butchered Sports. But you can always look up Butchered Sports episodes on YouTube. We got a very exciting thing coming this weekend with I've talked about Dev Dupree before. Dev's going to give us a little sample of some of her music this Saturday. We're going to post that up on YouTube.
Oh,
We're looking to
fantastic.
expand some content this fall. I think I'll have a lot more time to dedicate to this fall. And I'm really appreciative to you, Z, for your time and your insight. It's great. Looking forward to, as we go through the rest of this soccer season, really breaking down some good things and hopefully being able to follow the U.S. men's team into Russia next year. So.
Yeah, you know what? Even with all the complaining and everything, I think it's going to be it would be really hard for them not to make it. It just you just want to see these guys just come anywhere near what our women's side is doing, and I think that the support and the following that they would have would just be the make. We're a country that's hungry for soccer. I mean, it is the worst kept secret in this country. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming, and you know all people need is an opportunity to cheer for you, support you, and people get crazy. You know,
That's right. The lid will come off. The lid will come off if we get into a situation where the U.S. men's team gets into a quarterfinal game, a semifinal game. Forget about it.
Yep. The lid. You're right. The lid will come off. So let's hope. You know, eternally optimistic, I guess, is the best way to handle it, right? Even though we just complain a lot.
Yep. All right, Z. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Frank. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.